Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we'll be checking out the latest song by Pedro, at least at time of recording. As usual though, this is the review, so if you want to see the reaction that I just did, pause this, click the little link in the description below, and it'll open up a separate little YouTube player where you can watch that, just in case you haven't heard the song before, or you want to see how I responded upon first listen, because now I'm about to give you my proper review. Having just heard it a few seconds ago, I can safely say I'm now ready for a review. That's just how we do things. Ready? Don't say I didn't warn you. Remember, pause this if you want to check out the reaction first. Here we go. Okay, so this one, as I was saying during the actual watch through, this is a song that I think has a very simple core philosophy, which is kind of true actually a lot of Pedro's songs, and it's something which is very simple at its core, but does seem to work. Now, the question, of course, then becomes how much longevity that would have. Now, simply the thing that works about this is that the actual melodic qualities of the song are just kind of strummy electric guitar, very simple vocal melody. Well, I'd say simple vocal melody in the chorus. There's some nice progression in the verse and the pre-chorus. Actually, I like the way that sort of builds up and then it develops a lot in the. You get a lot of tension build up in the pre-chorus where the chords drop down and everything, and you get more of a held chord there. It just gave a feeling that there was a good flow, but nothing excessively complex. It's all kind of nice, simple rock and roll ethos to how it works. The same could be said of the beat, but what was interesting is that the beat was just right to extract the most out of the more simple melody and chord structure of what was going on top. I think most of that came through, like I said, in the fact that there was the way that the second kick of each bar each time round was slightly delayed. So you had kick, snare. It was just pushed back to the beat just before the snare came in. Very simple. It's like there's a million songs that do that, but just here it was just kind of right. It meant that the whole song had a bit of a bounce. Reminds you a lot of when you hear on a completely different genre, but if you hear like sort of EDM or hip hop or something where they just get like one beat that works and they put that throughout the entire song. Sometimes if you've got a beat that just extracts the most out of what you're doing on top, you don't really have to change it. It can actually become the core of the song. And there's nothing wrong with having a song where certain elements do remain throughout. Even by some of the most lauded and loved bands that we talk about the excellence of on this channel, there will be almost all of them have at least one song where the chord pattern just repeats and doesn't change at any point. It's okay to have a song that's based on the core, and like I said, what was nice is that the beat was such a steady underpinning to the whole song. It was so consistent in a certain core way that to me that was what was really wonderful about the drumming. I mean, it had a nice touch as always, but you know, sometimes a good musician knows when they've just got a good thing and they don't have to do much. Yeah, you can add a little filler here or there, but they go, you know what, this works throughout the whole song, no need to flip it up at any point, or not in any significant way. And so I thought that was the first thing that really hit me here, is that the beat was just, it was perfect. It was nice, simple, and it gave a bounce to the song without turning boring or turning repetitive. And one of the things that complemented that is, like I say, the top layer, as simple as it was, there was nice progress. I loved the way that the melody did just sort of progress nicely. Like I said, the pre-chorus was brilliant. And then it goes into that chorus, which is very simple, mostly just a sort of held vocal note. Oh, the bell. It's 6 o'clock. Not that that's relevant. You're probably watching this and it's not 6 o'clock. Let me carry on. So, the melody was simple in the choruses, just in that way that, you know, sort of big held note that everyone can sing along to. It's what makes it one of those ones you can sway and everyone can just, doesn't, you know, when you have the big held note in the chorus, you don't have to be a good singer, just everyone can sing the same note at the same time. It had that kind of feeling, like a really great sort of live, everyone sings along, beers in the air or lighters or whatever you're allowed at the venue. So there was that good feel to it, and like I say, complemented by a simple but nice, emotional and well progressing melody in the verses. The bridge, I don't know. I felt that considering the song seemed to have quite a bit of emotional depth, probably in a lot of ways, helped by the video really seeming to put that concept forward. It kind of occurred to me that the bridge could have been something a bit more interesting. I liked the solo in that it was nice and melodic. It has a lot of feeling to the way that it was played. You know, as we know, they got a fantastic guitarist anyway, but she really put a lot of feeling into it. And it had that, like I say, Britpop-y, sort of over-distorted guitar solo vibe that kind of reminded me a bit of like a Graham Coxon sort of thing going on there. However, it's one of those ones where I have to be consistent in my critiquing. I've said this a lot about much heavier bands. Sometimes you get a solo that appears over the backing, and the backing is just the rest of the band keep on playing what they were playing in the verse or the chorus, and the solo appears. And it just kind of feels a little bit like, I'm sure you could have done something more interesting. Now, as I did say with the beat, don't get me wrong, there is a certain quality to this song, which is its sort of consistency, the way it just sort of bounces along. But then again, you could counter that by saying that the last chorus, as is so common with a lot of Japanese songs, not just Japanese songs, but seemingly more in Japan, it had that thing where it breaks down at the beginning of the last chorus. So clearly, it wasn't that they didn't want to, the arrangement breaks down to something simpler and then sort of comes back in after a few bars. So clearly, it's not that they were afraid of breaking away from a consistent tone throughout. They were happy to put little breaks in it. So just, I listened to it, I was like, okay, it works, it's functional, but it is like so many of those types of bridges where it's kind of, it's there really serving little purpose, but just facilitating a little bit of a gap before you rotate round to the chorus again, and so everyone can sing along one more time. Which is a shame, because you don't want to say that about something like a solo, because it's got a lot of passion in it, but I feel that sort of feeling of the solo would come out much better if the backing music had just sort of maybe even, sometimes I say this, even something as simple as just a key change in the backing, which would work against the solo or something like that, just to bring out a little bit more, give it a little bit more tension. I don't know. I just personally felt that it, like I say, it was good, but they could have done something more interesting, I'm sure, with that. So yeah, bridge kind of passable. Not a lack of skill, just I think a little bit of a lack of imagination went into that. Gotta be honest. I know it's the style though. I know this seems to be very popular, but I will keep on saying it's not that there's something wrong with bands doing this. It's just when you hear a band who actually does put that effort into sort of building something underneath a solo, it always comes out sounding better, always comes out more engaging and more interesting. So, yeah, that's the one bit of the song where, like I say, passable rather than particularly engaging, but it's a good song, great song. Really enjoyed the chorus, good sing-along value. This was really catchy. I can see this one being one that people would enjoy for a long time, and certainly really good at live shows. Good development, like I say, in the melody. Nice idea to keep that sort of consistent beat underneath the whole thing. Well played solo. Good sense of feeling in it, which, like I say, was developed a lot by the video. I think I've often complained about these videos where they do the sort of low contrast, here's some wistful images. Luckily, they didn't delve into slow motion territory, which is often what happens in these types of videos. So it felt like it had a good pace, and there was a sort of lively feeling that was very consistent with the mood of the song, I felt. So to me, the video did kind of work. I was a little bit curious about two scenes which were held surprisingly long. One was the bit where she was just kind of eating. That was held for quite a few seconds, in the bit where she stares at the camera during what is quite a big last chorus. And you're thinking, okay, I like the idea of ending on that. What's the mood of this? Is she going to smile? Is she not going to smile thing? However, just when you've got a big sort of anthemic chorus, I felt it could have ended with something a little bit more interesting happening visually. So yeah, the video, again, it was nice, interesting, it worked in its own way. I don't know necessarily, I think it was the best way to extract the most feeling out of the song, but it certainly didn't work against the song. So my takeaway from this is that it's got some nice, interesting ideas to it. It's basically simple at its core. Would I listen to this again? Yes, I'm pretty sure I would. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good song that I did definitely enjoy. What things will always be things I wish were a bit better? I think the only two things: video, I wish there was more performance in the video, because I think it's one of those songs where it could have probably benefited from that, and I wish that something more interesting happened in the bridge underneath the solo. Even if you're having a solo, that's fine, but something underneath the solo a little bit more interesting had happened. That's probably the only things I take away as criticism from this. So there you go. There's my opinions. As always, though, those are just my opinions as someone who's worked with music my entire adult life, but that does not mean that it changes the fact that music is a subjective thing. We all like what we like after all. So please tell me, did you like this? What was your opinion? What things did you like it for? And what things didn't work for you so much? As always, justify your opinions, because that's how we get the conversation going. Feel free to like, subscribe, all of the YouTube things. Remember all the other social medias we have linked in the description below, as well as the reaction video down there. And as always, a massive thank you to our Patreon people who support the channel. We edit nothing, so that's staying in. Our Patreon people who support the channel so kindly. Like I say, we're not monetized, so it's massively appreciated. You really do keep this thing going. I say it every time because it's true. And thank you nonetheless to whoever you are, Patreon or otherwise, for making it through to the end of this video. So until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.